But going from one of your favourite players to one of mine, we've got Surrender versus Shaxy coming right up for you guys. And this one, again, is just two extremely strong players. Two of the, top of the crop in terms of just Asia-Pacific Hearthstone, at least.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of performance, just in GM. Never mind the careers outside of GM. Just in Grandmasters, these two are fantastic. Tyler, of course, being the player who qualified to Global Finals last season.
That's right. I would definitely hear the argument for Surrender to be the best Asia-Pacific player of all time. With Tom60229, I think, being the other contender, you could argue having the best record. Obviously, a big crowning achievement being the world champion. But Surrender feels like a little bit more consistent overall over all the years when you factor in all the points he earned, all his victories, especially with the seasonal championship as well. And now his qualification through to BlizzCon as well. Surrender is clearly one of the absolute best of the best. And Shaxy, I feel like, has gone a little bit unappreciated in his time, given that he's less well known in the Western English-speaking Hearthstone community as well. And I think in Grandmasters, his work is starting to speak for itself, though.
Yeah, I'm the one who started singing the praises of Shaxy's play last season, as well as this season as well. I think he's been one of the overall consistent players, and mixing consistency with actually his own spark of creativity in his deck. Shaxy never brings boring decks.
Yeah.
Even if they're even his Control Warrior led to Hecklebot Shivala out of the deck into a win. Like, if someone's going to have to play Control Warrior, that's what I want to see. But these guys, both gents in themselves, similar to Tyler, both banned out each other's warriors. We're going to see none of that rubbish. And again, look at this. And this is so.
This is Shaxy all over.
I picked the cards here for the highlight cards, and again, bees in this druid. Yes, it's not mind blowing, but not everyone's playing it. And then Plague of Murlocs, the Piper, which I mentioned before in Shame, I think is a good choice.
Yeah.
And then his priest.
Forbidden Words.
Forbidden Words instead of Buon Samdi. 0 drop for a 7 drop.
Okay.
Not normally the usual swap you see, but yeah, playing Forbidden Words, and again, good in the mirror.
I think that's really what it's going for, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting to see Forbidden Words instead of a second copy of Silence. It's got obviously pretty big advantages and disadvantages in that if the board swings out of control and they make a 12-12 on turn 3 or something, Forbidden Words ain't doing nothing to help you out of that situation. But if they play Cleric and you kill it for 1 mana, that's huge. That's such a big swing in your favor.
And also one of the problems as well is if you silence a Blade Master that's been buffed, well, it's still a 4/7. Like if you silence a Tolve, it's still a 2/6. Like it doesn't matter. It can be healed, buffed, and killed again. So the removal is actually I think playing one of each puts your opponent in a weird spot, right? Because they can't just say, "Oh, I'll just play Blade Master, buff its health, and if he silences it, it has 7 health. I'll buff it again." Whereas if you Forbidden Words it, I'm in more trouble. So I think maybe even to a mind game to extent, one of each is like, oh, if I have this and they have that, what do I even play? Do I commit? Do I just go for it? Do I get blown out by Forbidden Words?
It's very interesting.
It's a good way to approach it.
Yeah.
If you believe in the whole mental approach to the game, taking advantage of open deck lists, actually.
I'm trying to think how good it would be in non-mirror matches, like against anything that isn't Priest, and I'm starting to think it would be pretty bad, actually, against a lot of the other decks knocking about right now. Like against Druid early on, you just want proactive stuff. Warrior, you want proactive stuff. Shaman, they don't have much good stuff to hit.
It's just another card that kills taunts, though, as well.
I guess so, yeah. You
to get through, it's kind of like a silence a lot of the time.
Can kill off Evil Totem for 0 mana. I'm excited to see it work out. I hope we get to see it here, because this is just classic Shaxy, because even if it doesn't work out perfectly, it shows, first of all, he's willing to be creative, and second of all, he's comfortable and knowledgeable enough about the meta to make these kind of bold plays.
Yeah, and they work.
That's
the biggest thing, right?
Like,
he never brings a deck, and it's like, wow, that was terrible.
There's always strong reasoning.
He doesn't.
Even if it loses, you can see the thought process behind it.
Surrender on the Quest Shaman, I believe, is bringing a fairly standard list. Nothing too crazy. Going for the and look, again, it's the matchup we kind of just saw, right? Or close. Of just the coin into Slurper into hopefully something that does something versus a priest minion.
But for Shaxy, I think I was busy talking about the Forbidden Words at the time, but I think he kept Pyromancer and Acolyte in the mulligan, right? Which again, if that is the case, I think that's what I saw out the corner of my eye. It's not a mulligan I think I like, because those are two generally very low win rate cards in pretty much every matchup. And I get what he's going for. He wants a Pyromancer to sweep up the board, pull things back in his favor. But Acolyte as well, I think the odds of that drawing him a significant amount of cards with Pyromancer is very, very low.
But isn't the odds of it drawing a significant amount of cards versus Shaman very, very high?
Maybe.
Like my thought on this, definitely not the best cards.
Yeah.
But they definitely contend with Shaman for a lot of the early game, right?
I don't really want to do like decent stuff and draw cards versus Shaman. I want to play Cleric, I want to play Tolvir, I want to play, I don't know, Blade Master maybe, Amit, of course, Psychopomp, and I just want to make big minions that they can't deal with straight away. You can just win the game on the spot very quickly.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, if I was playing,
Sure.
I want the early stuff, obviously. But my question is, if you do stuff a little bit later, can Shaman really deal with it anyway? I think that's the issue.
Maybe.
Like Shaman can't deal with these minions, whether it's turn 1 or turn 5.
Yeah.
So that's my question. Is maybe Shaxy feels comfortable playing a slower game versus Shaman than he would risking a bad mulligan.
That's true. And I guess
this mulligan's just okay.
it's fine, right? Yeah. And the thing is that by going bigger later on, the Priest, the one thing that can go wrong with that is they can pull ahead on board. Pyromancer usually keeps it in check anyway.
Right.
So,
exactly.
I think it's adding an extra step that isn't necessary to win the game, in my opinion. But it's not without reason.
It's very interesting, isn't it? Because like, if you look at this Acolyte, outside of a rush, Lackey, this turn somehow, it doesn't do anything. Look at this. Just going to clear the board and be like, yeah, oh, whatever. Weird play.
Very weird play.
yeah. I like it. I like weird plays by good players, because it means I can learn something.
Shaxy is an absolute weird champ, it would seem.
You see the benefit now, though, because what does Surrender play as Shaman that does anything this turn? Like,
yeah.
Nothing, right? if you say just the average Shaman play on turn 3, he's just...
It's a 3-3, right? A 3-3 is the average play, because that's
already
MCT,
dead.
Wasp, and Volkslosher. Just trades. And to be fair to Shaxy, he probably had that in mind, right? Because it's only Volkslosher on 1. It's only the Sludge Slurper on 1 that stops him from just playing the Pyromancer.
Yeah, and then just running havoc with it.
Maybe it is just good.
Derek slowly.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, with my Priest play, I think the biggest thing holding me back is I'm still too rigid. I generally am just looking for the best cards on
every single game.
Every single game. I'm looking for the same cards pretty much all the time, which is like Cleric, Tolvir. It changes slightly, like against Warrior, I'll keep one Samdi. Against Priest, I'll keep Silence. But maybe making plays like this is something I need to do to elevate my play.
Cleric Heal Sidekick means that the value trade can be done.
Good
so he ends the turn with a 1-3, a 3-2, and a 1-2 against a 1-1, and he's drawn a card.
I'm no doctor, but that sounds pretty strong.
And yet again, I keep
got you, friend.
saying the same thing. But what does, like, Shaman
What
do?
happens here?
Right? Like, what is the follow-up? We can see Lightning Bolt's not bad, right?
Bolt's
but,
good,
But Lightning Bolt, you can't just be like, well, if they discover Lightning Bolt, it's bad.
Yeah,
the average Shaman turn is just terrible turns 1 to 5. They just make a load of 1-1s, which, as you said, versus the Pyromancer. Maybe it's just a god play that a Pyromancer just locks out Shaman's 1 to 5.
Maybe.
Like, maybe that is just the case, and we don't know it yet.
And again, my counter-argument to that would be, I think just hitting a curve of 1-drop, 2-drop can do the same thing, because you just value trade and heal back up.
Look at this!
Is he really going for this? This plays around Wasp, I suppose?
And I guess
Evolve?
Discover Rush?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty good. If you are
That's
expecting Wasp, it's insane.
It's so weird that these plays look strange, but we keep just going, oh yeah, you know what?
Fair enough, yeah.
I see it.
I'm learning a lot from Shaxy.
Now there's still 2 battle cries away. So I wonder if just Novice Lightning Bolt has to come down.
He wants to get himself in a position where he can complete the quest and go Sandstorm next turn. So is it ever Novice plus Evil Totem, and then next turn Hero Power, Lackey Hero Power Sandstorm?
But you leave a Cleric.
You leave a Cleric. I know it hurts my soul.
Oh.
It hurts my soul. But Surrender needs to do something miraculous to pull this back, right? And I think Hero double activation of Sandstorm Elemental might be the something that gets
He's
him
made
there.
his choice, and he is giving full respect to
Okay.
the dock. I think you might be right, but I fully understand Surrender's position here because you could just lose the game next turn.
Of course, if it's Circle or Nephicet or even just heal, like...
Yeah. Heal and another minion. Well, I guess another minion would be good, actually, because of MCT, but you know what I mean, right?
Shaxy not throwing the game, yeah. Anything other than
but
that.
just the fact that just drawing more and more and more cards makes it more and more likely you just die. So there is Acolyte. Does Acolyte trade the 1/1 powered shield on not the 1/1? And that leaves some space for a minion the turn after? I kind of hope everyone heard that.
we're all the boys here. Feel free to crack open with us.
Can I go for heal instead? This is more mana efficient. I think I might have liked just dropping the Acolyte down and being like, yeah, play a Sandstorm Elemental, friend. Like, let me draw more cards. I feel like this is very clinical play from Shaxy. You know what I mean? Like, just very, like, clean and, like, you can do nothing this turn.
Yeah,
you can do nothing next turn. You can do nothing the turn after.
Yeah.
It's actually very strange to watch for me. Because again, I think I would have just 1/1 into the totem, threw the 1/1 away with the powered shield, drawn with the Acolyte, so on and so on. But what this is doing is just saying, I am optimizing every single point of value with every single one of my cards, and I'm not allowing you to have any good turns. And it's quite impressive.
I agree.
I just wonder if it's going to win him the game, because at this point I still don't really know.
I think Shaxy's making the right plays. Like, I really like development of board control over drawing cards, because I think the way he falls behind, like, it's very possible that he could lose the game with like 6, 7, 8 cards in hand, but no board control.
Right.
So Priest struggles to pull things back. So I think developing the Blade Master is more important. Keeping board control.
It's a lot of beef, isn't it?
Exactly. It's a whole lot of beef.
And now, again, Surrender going for a decent turn, but you can argue that allows Shaxy to just play more stuff because he's not going to be playing into MCT. Finally, this Pyromancer dies, and honestly, for what's arguably a strange keep, that guy did some work.
That guy
did some work.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
He literally kept the board empty for 5 turns. Well, 4 turns, I guess.
And this is like... The thing about Shaxy is watching him play is he very often makes weird deck inclusions, weird plays that I don't always agree with, but they always seem to come full circle and make sense. Like, it's kind of similar to Staz, right? Where Staz makes weird plays that I see them come out, he wins, and I still disagree with his plays.
Yeah.
But Shaxy, he makes weird plays, he wins, and then I'm like, okay, I think he was probably right here.
You know what Shaxy's plays like? Have you seen those artists that, like, they have a big board, they draw this picture that looks like nothing, and then they spin it round, and you're like, whoa! It was a great picture all along. Like, that's what I feel like Shaxy plays Hearthstone like.
Yeah.
He's just doing these weird things. You're like, what is this?
What are you doing?
And then poof, game ends, and he won, and you're like, you're a genius.
It was a happy little tree the whole time.
No, yeah. So crazy. Now just again, I was going to say clean, basic play, but I don't want basic to be misunderstood as not good.
It's the fundamentals, right?
Yeah, but like, not playing more minions onto the board. He has his Acolyte, which on paper now draws 2 cards.
Yeah.
His Blade Master, you'd have to argue, is almost certainly out of range of everything except a Wasp. Oh no, it's even out of range of a wasp. I didn't.
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
he's overloaded for 2. Apologies. So like, look how clean the turn is, right? He's just good. He's just safe.
So for Surrender, the thing he wants to try and do here is clearly deny draw on the Acolyte, because if he can deny card draw and Shaxy gets a couple of dead draws, Surrender's in a good spot. I think he can definitely start to pull it back.
It's the one thing that can go your way is if they just don't quite draw a lot of cards, then you're looking pretty good. Because no singular card is good on its own for Priest outside of, say, Blonde Samdi, which Shaxy is.
So how does he do that then? Does he go for face with the 2-1, Bog Slosher it back, play it again, and then just sacrifice off the 1-1 into the Blade Master?
You belong to the bomb now.
Nope.
Okay. He's making the risk here. He's not killing off the...
Just reducing their health down.
Yeah, but by not killing off the Acolyte, things could go horribly wrong, but he might get away with it.
But nice play from Surrender, because he's seen the Pyromancer, and now both minions one-tap the Acolyte.
Right,
so,
that's exactly it.
Exactly.
It's betting there's no buff.
Exactly, yeah. So it's just, again, just giving him the best chances without being silly. Sometimes I feel like players go, oh, I can't let this Acolyte get buffed and overdraw. I'm going to put 3 cards into it. And you're like, that Acolyte has drawn 2 cards and deleted 3 of yours. Like, you've made it a god card now. Whereas Surrender's just going to, you know, play the odds, see what's going to happen.
All right. Now we're talking. Amit in the hand. Could come down on this turn, of course.
What, throw the Acolyte away?
Just throw the Acolyte away. Because that, of course, means that the 2 attack kills it off if he wants to trade it into the Amit. Do you prefer just forbidden words?
Yeah, what if you just words this turn? Get rid of 1, trade the other, go.
The problem is that Amit is not that good with his hand at the moment because it only buffs the Tolvid by 1.
That's why I don't think he needs to rush it out.
Fair enough. Yeah. That's a good point.
Like, keep the 3 minions on board. Now, again, Surrender has to do something good.
Protects the Cleric as well.
Yeah,
this is
everything's up. He can heal next turn. And look at this mind control tech. It's like, just give me my shot, coach. It's like, I can't. You bad. Like, you're just a 3/3, mate.
Yeah, it's like, all right. So you see the 3 minions. Yeah. One of them would be good for us, right? Yeah. So you're gonna steal 1. No, sorry.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Can't.
What?
I'm nervous in small crowds.
You had 1 more. Oh yeah. Now we're talking.
Maybe mind control tech's just shy. Because remember, when you play the mind control tech, you don't look at him. You look at what he stole.
That's true.
And he only comes out in big crowds of 4.
It's
made up
a tragic story.
Float like a butterfly.
Surrender just going for the single most powerful play he can make on the board. I can't argue with that, but you can't roll the dice on a novice engineer this turn. Like, not getting enough stuff, but
I love this.
The card draw.
Yeah, for Shaxy, you just do the thing that always happens at the start of the turn, then you figure out the rest.
I think following up with a heal now, nothing really stands out to me.
Yeah, if you're not going Amit plus double Tolvir, which I don't think you are because of, obviously, mind control tech, I think this is correct. Amit, Tolvir, double trade? No, you don't really want to get rid of the Cleric.
What about...
Amit, Divine Spirit, double trade? Yeah, that's probably better, actually. Because then you start doing the really busted stuff.
Is it that busted, though? Do you not want to play the minions on the same turn you played Amit?
What can they do?
Hit it for 5?
I guess even then it's still down to 12 though, right?
I think I like this
I
more.
agree with the double trade, of course, but...
Yes. I think I like this more, though.
I don't think I
Next turn, you can
like
almost certainly Divine Spirit, Tolvir, Blade Master. Like,
yeah. Fair enough.
Steal one of those mind control tech.
I guess.
Because otherwise,
You like my invention?
like, yes, it's still got a lot of health, but what if there's like that lackey wasp, and then you're just like, wow, like that's just what a waste of a Divine Spirit and an Amit at that point. Whereas this is, I would say,
This is okay.
quite likely
Yeah.
to live on enough health to be relevant.
And I guess if you're getting a 14 health Amit and then you instantly play the other 2 minions, that's good enough already.
Yes.
And you can't play, if you want to keep playing around mind control tech, you can't keep playing so many big minions anyway.
Right. Oh!
Wow, those are the 2 worst minions on both the mana costs, pretty much there. What? Is that good?
Dad.
Is that insane?
I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say yes, right? He never gets to fatigue anyway. He needs resources to beat the priest. I think that was the nuts.
And also, it's high attack.
Yes, right. It's an 8/8.
That can hit some stuff. Or imagine if you had a rush lackey. If you had a rush lackey, the game just ends.
The game would just end if you had a rush lackey, yeah.
If only that was a battle cry. A totem battle cry. Play summon a lackey.
But Shaxy has outs for lethal right now in his own right. And he can still hit it.
Okay,
Acolyte first.
So surely now. Yeah.
Should he have gotten rid of it to keep more space for mind control tech? Probably should have done, right?
Does he just go in?
14 health.
14 health and attack.
Attack face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then get a 14 health taunt.
Oh yeah. It's all coming together.
Okay. I wasn't ready for that.
Bit early in the morning for Kronk.
I love Kronk. I watched a YouTube video about Empress New Groove the other day. It's very funny. It was pointing out all the mistakes in the film.
Oh, right.
But the mistakes actually only made me like it more.
Yeah. It is the perfect film.
Quickly.
And this is what I mean about not trading away the Acolyte, is that he can't play both of these minions here without playing into mind control tech, whereas I think by sacrificing the Acolyte...
I think that was a bit of a misstep. The one draw, if he's going in, then the one draw does not matter, right? Whereas I think he should have bopped him in the face. Literally just sets up lethal.
Yeah. Yeah. So now for Surrender, if he hits... What's the best one? Is it the Taunt or Amit? Probably Amit, right? If he hits Amit, he's in a pretty good spot.
Oh, this is a hard turn, though. What? Does he not... Or should he not just Giggling Inventor?
Oh, really?
Dude, if you miss, you die.
He's dying anyway. Something has to go right for him.
Oh, I don't know if I... Oh! Spice. I don't know if I... Oh, Surrender's a brave boy.
We were talking about clinical play from Shaxy. I think this may have been the misstep to lose him the game, right? We can now see Hero Power, Witchy Lackey, Weaponized Wasp. Okay, he doesn't want the cards. Whatever, he's got more than enough anyway with the shuttle.
Oh! Good, but bad.
Off the moon. Obviously, you'd rather have the King Crush, but this is still insane.
But now he can. I think he should have buffed and hit face. Because now there's nothing. There's no draw that gets him lethal. Right?
Divine Spirit have both been played.
The end.
But he doesn't get to 28 with that.
How much health does this... This has 14 health though, right? So it would go Circle of Healing, Divine Spirit, Inner Fire, and that'll be lethal.
Wait, did he just draw Circle of Healing? Or did he already have it?
He didn't have it, but Nephesate did the job anyway.
Oh, I guess.
Divine Spirit was lethal.
I guess.
And now with the Cleric coming off that, it's still outs for Divine Spirit for lethal. Heal first is correct.
Yep.
Then you go for the
Gets
Circle of Healing,
draws.
2 draws.
Ooh. It's close.
And he's just dying on the backswing.
Yeah.
How did this fall out of Shaxy's hands?
Well, it's not the fact that he's dying, it's that the Blade Master dies, right?
Whatever. Yeah.
Honestly, though, I think Surrender may have flirted a little bit with danger.
By what?
I just don't know if he needed to MCT that too. No,
Really?
okay, if he makes 4 taunts instead,
It just gets value traded, right?
but the attacks never hit, then he Shudder Walks, draws a ton of cards, makes more taunts.
Maybe.
Like, that buys him so much time that he can discover, draw, do whatever the heck he wants. Whereas if he missed, he's just dead. If he missed that 1 out of 4, well, not 1 out of 4, but if he
half the
wins
time he got a really good outcome. 3 out of 4 he got a decent outcome.
at one time, you just lose the
I think
game,
he's
though.
just losing slower if he...
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Taught you were lost.
Maybe I'm wrong. I find it difficult to remember these board states after they've come down.
Power overwhelming.
Bunch of new classic cards added in. New face.
Oh, there's even Murlocs. Not that he's going to play it while he's winning the board, of course. That's such a good card. I need to make that 5/5 work. It's so sick.
It's, whenever I see it come off of there, it's actually pretty nuts.
Yeah, it just wins games.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, surely you can high roll enough to get Invocation to that early.
Oh,
and
Invocation.
Go
All right, now we're talking. All right, Shaxy still has a Cleric on board. It's never over with a Cleric on board.
Clerics,
Ever.
like 1/2, secret text. Poisonous to your opponent's face.
Oh, okay.
Lethal now,
In
though.
this instance, it is, however.
Oof. So,
That felt horrible from Shaxy. We've been very nice to Shaxy all season. He's been playing very well. I think that game was just thrown by him at the end there.
I think he put himself in a fantastic position. He played in a very strange way, but it worked. It
Yes,
was
it
logical.
was
It
working
made
at the
sense.
start.
It was impressive. And
It
then
all
he
just
just
went
did
wrong.
not need the Acolyte to draw one more card,
Right.
did he?
If he just smashed that into the Octazari, I don't really see how he loses.
Yeah, I think he just wins because he always has a high health minion,
Yeah.
which is what I was talking about the Amit thing, right? If you go that high health against Shaman, outside of going straight into MCT, there's the cards don't exist outside of Murlocs that do anything to that board. It just doesn't happen. But anyway, that was just game number 1. We're going to chill out a little bit and get ready for game number 2. We'll be right back.
That's the extra damage.
That is the extra damage. That is the extra damage. Power shield is lethal.
Did he not get it off?
Okay, yeah, second digit. Re-injuring in the next set. Re-injuring in the next set is the same damage. Oh, no!
He didn't get the attack off. He's torn. He doesn't know what to do.
All right, sure.
That's one way to end it.
Fine. I guess that works too.
Pretty long-winded way to go about finding the end of this game.
For 3 chance.
Yes.
What is Hearthstone, Derek?
Absolute god, Alutemu, hands up to the sky.
Oda, Shaxy, I think when he plays it, will need to have an answer to.
Whoa! He's got the answer.
Yeah, because he can.
Warpath trade and then the rush or whatever. That's game.
Do you like Zoo 2?
I love Zoo a lot. Practice
Thank
it.
you. I love you too.
Octazari lethal. No! That's the nightmare. But he just loses now. He's got 8 arms, he just thwacked all of them once. I've got 2 left.
What a way to go out. Unfortunate.
Stand up on the casting chair with me, TJ.
Nope.
Stand!
I think it would collapse.
Casters, rise up. No, wait. There's much more important things at stake, people. Come on!
Results. They're a lovely thing.
25.
Oh my gosh. No way.
We are back with Surrender versus Shaxy going into game number 2, and Shaxy felt, don't say maybe as hard as like he threw the game, but I felt like he gave himself a big opening to lose. That's how I'm going to phrase it.
He definitely did that. Yeah. That's the perfect way to describe what just happened.
I feel like we're mean to players a lot, and I want to bring some positivity back.
Well, I mean...
But yes, it wasn't great, was it?
We're mean to the players who have shown they're good. This was uncharacteristic of Shaxy, is the point I'm trying to bring across it. You know, if I didn't think a player was... If I thought that was characteristic of a player, if they were making a bunch of misplays, honestly, I wouldn't really bring them up on it because there's not much point. It's just kind of mean at that point. But when a player is as good as Shaxy is and they're making these kind of mistakes, absolutely they should be pulled up on it because he is the best that Asia Pacific has to offer, and therefore he needs to be proving that game after game, not making these kind of mistakes. And we'll see if he can catch that up with this Priest Mirror right away, throwing the Amit. You'd love to see that.
And there we go. Yeah, Priest Mirror going to be pretty explosive overall. And we'll see how it rocks out here. As Surrender got a bit more of a difficult mulligan. He has a couple of 1-drops. He has the Wild Pyromancer that probably isn't going to be kept.
Yeah.
But Acolyte of Pain as well. So it's really just how you piece together these cards. And it's not only what you think you can do with the cards you have, it's what you think you can do versus what your opponent might have.
I think double 1-drop here is the baseline mulligan. Like, Beaming Sidekick is not a fantastic card, but when you have another 1-drop already, it obviously becomes an awful lot better. Pyromancer, I think, was worth considering, but I agree that for Surrender, he's looking instead for cards like Inner Fire would be fantastic in this position. Silence, Cleric, Injured Tolvir, Circle of Healing.
Also as well, I think like the Sidekick is actually not bad when it's on exactly a Light Warden. Because it's not only its health going up, but its attack is going up, which means it can trade up into minions and keep alive as opposed to just its regular 2 health getting traded off. And already, Surrender doing the old head scratcher. Play. I like just coining it out, right?
Why? I'm trying to think about what that affords you against Tolvir, because the problem with this instance where you play Light Warden, they play Tolvir, is the only thing you can heal is Tolvir. That's the only thing that's damaged on board, and you obviously can't attack to their face and then heal your opponent. And so Beaming Sidekick doesn't allow you to heal anything first and then trade in.
I guess.
If you see what I mean?
Versus exactly Tolvir. I guess I was thinking if they had like Cleric something, you know.
That's fair.
Maybe they could hit face and then heal. But it's a tough one, right? It's easy to have the specific outs, but I guess Cleric wouldn't be followed up by anything without health. So
yeah, I guess if they had any 1-drops, they would have played it on turn 1, like you said, or with a health buff. But it's a good point you raised.
But off coin, they might not have? Is that ever a reason? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think that the interesting thing is that if they play something like if they play something like Nephicet Ritualist or Wild Pyromancer, you can attack face with the Sidekick, then heal their face, then trade in.
Right. Yeah, that was kind of where I was thinking, is it gives you the attack to free up the attack of the Light Warden.
There's definitely some reason.
Yeah, versus Tolvir, it's not good.
Yeah.
Hey,
too much,
I got you, friend.
Otherwise, though, speaking of not good, this isn't it. This is pretty good. Buff Light Warden.
Surrender just popping off here right at the start with this Light Warden saying,
Nephicet.
If you ain't got a silence, you are in lay trouble. Or an Inner Fire, actually. Inner Fire would also be pretty insane here, right?
Kind of.
It would, right? Because it could just trade with the two big minions right now, and then you just play a Pyromancer or whatever, so you pull ahead on board. Or
yeah, I get. I'm just thinking like, yes. I guess I struggled to go, this is good because it flattens the board out. You've used an Inner Fire to get rid of minions. And also there's always an issue where, well, if Silence comes down, and it's because the trade can't happen on the Light Warden first, is why I struggle with it. It obviously wouldn't be bad. Inner Fire is going to be a pretty good tool to get if Shaxy can get hold of this one and he draws into it. There we go. Okay, well, this got pretty straightforward. At least as far as I'm concerned.
It has to be the Inner Fire, right? It's
well, now it's 8. It forces a heal in trade.
Yeah.
So it's even better. Like, the fact it's 8. Oh, sorry, you'll take damage.
Just trade even.
But still.
Is it ever Divine Spirit to go for a greedy Inner Fire next turn?
It doesn't have Nephicet, though. Yeah, Nephicet Ritualist, sign me up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
kind of upset with that one. Silence off the top. Nope, one more draw though.
That's fine. I think you just play that and be happy.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, set up for set next turn. You just want to be ahead on board, and this allows you to be ahead on board.
You just gotta take it. Unfortunate outcome, but again, kind of, it doesn't even reset because, as you said, Surrender ends up ahead, which means that it's a. All right.
Psycho
Shaxy
Pump
can't.
into Psycho.
There's more left in me.
Such an interesting game. How already this entire game has like pretty much come down to Surrender's decision to go for Circle of Healing on turn 2, was it? When he absolutely didn't have to. But maybe it was just really good. Pretty good top deck. Yeah, yeah. That's pretty nuts. Trade.
Again, this is something that's just a side benefit of the side kick, is that it's an extra attack, and in these very itty bitty fights with just a low amount of minions, just a whole extra attack is a big deal. Even if it wasn't needed into Reborn, Log it can kill off a Psycho Pump, it can proc a heal on something, and so on. Like, just even though it doesn't look like the best minion in the game, it definitely helps out a lot in this deck.
Kind of a rough turn here for Shaxy. Does he go for the Psycho Pump while he has guaranteed Tolvir res? It's not even that good is the problem.
Yeah.
Or does he just extra arms trade Pyromancer and then take a likely Psycho Pump next turn? I think I prefer that.
Yeah.
Killing off.
Get rid of this big boy.
Yeah.
Kill it off. And also, honestly, Psycho Pump, not the best res target for Psycho Pump, but it's still pretty high health. High attack, sorry. So you can maybe not buff its health without Topsy-Turvy, but it's a great trading tool to dump into these bigger minions from Surrender.
Surrender feels this one slipping away, shake of the head there. He's thinking back, was it right to go for the Circle of Healing trade in there? It had punishes with silence and inner fire. It had upsides if you hit it. If he can get outcomes like this, though, off of the Psycho Pump, this is how Surrender stays in the game. This is not over.
Any spellcast is going to be a problem here. Divine Spirit may as well not be a card right now. If only that were the case in the game.
Hey!
But if Surrender finds a Pyromancer here, he's laughing. I don't think that was that, though.
So I guess it's just arms go? Question mark? Because he wants the Pyro, right?
Yeah.
I bet if Surrender could, he wishes he could like Shadow Step his Blade Master right now. Just keep the Pyro on board for Shaxy.
I guess so, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's it's bad, right? Whereas Shaxy, if he wants, can just trade the Pyro away, no problem.
Yeah.
So it's going to do the job for him. What this does is, outside of a top seat, means that Shaxy has no way to buff.
Yeah, he's going all in on the minion here. Like, his two plays here are either all in on the minion or pray to top deck Pyromancer.
So is that why he's keeping exactly circle? Just
well,
I guess
Circle
for
does
Cleric.
basically nothing, right? Yeah. And yeah, like you said, top deck's Cleric as well. But like, he could have kept the Topsy-Turvy here to go for Pyro double spell, but I don't even think that's game winning, to be honest. I think it's better to just play it here and try and keep a minion. Because he knows that there's more arms in hand. Minions. Shaxy's just pulling ahead on value. It has to be Cleric off the top now for Surrender. And if he gets it, he's not in that bad of a spot. So this minion is 9 health. Buff it up to 18 health. It doesn't even have outs the turn after.
Yep. Surrender kind of getting zooed down right now.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
It's often the way the matchup goes, right? It's not about necessarily getting the first combo to kill your opponent. It's just locking down board. And Shaxy with double Psycho Pump. Like, even if you res Psycho Pump off Psycho Pump, you still...
Again, it's one of the drawbacks from of the deck. One of the few drawbacks of the deck is that basically it's predictable. You know exactly what the deck
Big
can
time.
do.
Yeah.
Yes, sometimes they have Divine Spirit, sometimes they don't. But the deck cannot burst you from hand. It can't really do much. then it just does anyway. And Surrender going to start using this one big minion to try and chomp away everything else on board and regain that board control.
I mean, you know,
He's only one Samdi away though.
Yeah, one Samdi in a fire, cleric. There's draws. It's definitely the way to go. It's better than going face. And I liked playing the Circle of Healing there. Like, it just dies if he doesn't do it.
I must consider.
He can go for like Divine Spirit on his own minion and start chunking away at the big Blade Master on the other side. But is his better chance to just hit face with everything and try and race? Like, I can kill you before you can kill my board.
I think, especially with his Light Warden, I think you just go, right? Because Surrender has one attack a turn, so just go quick. I think he puts more arms on something small, so he spreads the damage, so Surrender can't just kill one minion.
I guess so. I guess he has to kill the Light Warden anyway. I was thinking you may as well put it on something bigger. I think I prefer this because it's attack that doesn't die. Whereas if you put the +2/+2 on something small, it's easier to get rid of.
I just thought, like, by the time he gets rid of them all, does that buy him enough time to actually win? Because what if he gets an Inner Fire now? Like, he reduces the attack down on the board a lot. There you go.
Okay.
So he goes face, right?
So how much damage is there? There's 10. There's lethal.
Oh,
Shaxy
right, yeah,
has
so he
lethal.
can't, so he has to try.
Wait, because he can
No,
heal
'cause
the
he can
minion.
heal.
He can heal.
Wait.
Yes. He can heal the opposing Blade
Oh,
Master.
the Blade
for
Master, not
lethal.
the face, yeah.
Yes. If that was an undamaged
And
Blade Master,
also, Surrender would heal him, his own Blade Master to do more damage. Although I guess he doesn't have
he
to.
doesn't have to, yeah.
So he has to trade.
If he heals himself, it just buffs the Light Warden.
So he just trade
10.
heal in a fire?
Yep.
Is that what he has to do? But then that still sets up lethal anyway. I think Surrender's checkmated right now.
Wait, really? If he trades
Shaxy
the...
sets up lethal, right?
Oh, Shaxy does. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so he does that but doesn't go face.
Right.
So then he needs 2 turns to go face,
Right,
and
yes,
Shaxy
yes.
sets up lethal in 2 turns.
Maybe if he gets Psychopomp into rezzing the...
Did he play a top?
He played
Oh,
his,
yeah, sorry,
he played
sorry,
his own Tolkien.
yeah, he played top.
I think even then it's pretty unlikely, but maybe with top deck second Divine Spirit, he can go for a surprise lethal.
True.
Which then makes things interesting for Shaxy, because he can set up 2-turn lethal, but he wants to try and find a way where he can also deny top deck. Like, if Surrender is drawn back-to-back Inner Fire and Divine Spirit...
So he needs to put him on, what, 12?
12 health there.
So he has to put 6 in, and then he goes 4, 5, 6, puts him to 10. I don't think that's enough,
I
because then
think-
Surrender
I
can
don't
start
think you
trading
do.
the Blade Master.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just go face.
I think you just go face.
Unfortunately, go face,
so
cross your
unlikely.
fingers,
Yeah.
hope for the best. Is Surrender going to snipe this game, though?
That would be insane. That would be the most Surrender thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's just like so Surrender.
I'd watch that show. Nods his head.
The amount of times I've had, so have you heard of, That's So Raven? I'm like, yes. many times. Oh, didn't look like it. That's going to be a loss, and it's going to be an evened up series as far as I can see, Derek.
Yeah. Nothing here to save Surrender.
What a weird game of Hearthstone.
Very weird game. I think that Surrender piloted it pretty well. Like, there was a couple of small things he did well, like Topsy on the Psychopomp. He would have been dead long before now if he hadn't done that.
Yeah.
And it was not necessarily such an easy play. Going all in on the Blade Master when he did, I think, was very wise. Trading, I think, was very wise. As so often with the Priest Mirror, though, it was really just those early turns for him that I think is where you have to start analysing the plays. Not even to say that I think it was necessarily a mistake. I just think if you were to find a mistake, it would be in the early game.
Or even
that's where the most decisions
even
were.
just like a different route of play, right?
Might have
Even
won
if
in the
it's
game.
a mistake, might even be a bit strong, but just a different way to go. But yeah, they're both players taking wins now, and that's going to even the series up. And the Priests taking the wins across the board, which means there's Druids and Shamans on both sides.
That's right, Druid and Shaman, which I think for the most part is considered still an even matchup both ways. Like Quest Shaman versus Druid, it's just regular Quest Druid, I think, for both of these players. Yeah, so not even Malagos you're messing in.
Oh, what am I talking
sorry,
about?
okay.
No, it's my fault. I'm being I've seen so many Priest wins. I just go, oh yeah, they both won with Priest probably. Yeah, apologies. Right. Surrenders on Priest, he won with his Shaman.
Yes.
Yes. My apologies.
Which changes things drastically. I mean, that's my fault. I should have realized, having just lost with the Priest, of course. He still has that available. Yeah. We'll call that a 50-50 split.
I'll take it. Better than I normally get. But yeah, so Surrender can, of course, play Priest again. And
which is huge.
Yes, Priest is a pretty good deck, so I've been told. That's why I think it wins all the time. Regardless of outcome, it's like, nah, both players play Priest. Both players had to have won because they play Priest. So it's 2-2? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, one more game left of this series. Just a reminder, we do have one more match left. It's a 6-match day for us today. Right. It's a long one. Not only in just number of matches, but hours of Hearthstone as well. Got plenty of time left, though, so don't be too upset if you just tuned in. You're going to catch the back end of this series and one more series to go, which is going to be Patra versus Frosty. But for now,
that's a good one.
Surrender versus Shaxy, game number 3. Priest versus Shaman.
It's not often we get a guaranteed interview, no matter who the winner in Asia Pacific.
Another interesting opening hand. And all of it gone. I knew Inner Fire was going to go. I was just generally interested to see what people think of Amit.
Yeah,
it's just
I think it's something I very much consider against Shaman because, you know, it's sometimes the case that if you play it on turn 4, the game ends because they just can't do anything
Cards
against
don't
it.
exist.
Yeah, exactly. I think if I'm on the coin, I'm more incentivized to keep it because coining it out feels very strong, maybe going into a Psycho Pomp. And I'm also more incentivized to keep it if I have a 1-drop. I think if I have the Cleric or the Light Warden as well, or even just a Tolvir, I would then consider keeping it. In this case, I like Surrender going for the early cards.
Also as well, speaking of coining things out, Coin of the Totem obviously helps out. If you don't know this, Coin the Totem doesn't lose you any battle cries, but it means you can do Coin Totem quest into Lackey turn 2, as we've seen Shaxy do.
Yeah.
And that means that you generally gain because you get 1 extra Lackey than you would normally.
Do you think the visual bug on Titanic Lackey is like it is? Because, like the film Titanic, I wish half of it just wasn't there.
Oh, half of it's underwater. Maybe looking at the colour. It's just sinking. Imagine if they just fixed the bug and instead of the minion, it's just Leonardo DiCaprio. His face is like, hey.
I mean, that is an art change I would pay to include in my game. Hearthstone as different Leonardo DiCaprios. Every card is a different Leo.
That would be sick, actually. I'd love that.
Of course it's the right way.
Like Twisted Nether, be Inception. It's just
oh, yeah. I feel like that would be Dreadsteed, because we have to go deeper. There's another one and another one.
Or any Jade card.
Yeah, that's true. Shutter Island's going to be Conjured Mirage as well. It was never really there.
Gadgets and Wolf of Wall Street. Time is money, friend.
Oh, Leo saying, I've got the best deals anywhere. Just waiting to happen.
Oh, yeah, any Goblin would be Wolf of Wall Street. Would be great.
Or Direwolf Alpha, just with his face on the wolf. The literal Wolf of Wall Street.
So Blizzard, if you want to hire us for more than just casting, we are available.
Good lord. If you want to hire us for less than casting, I completely understand at this point. Shh. And while we were talking about the downsides of Amit, it can be too slow if you don't hit the earlier stuff. If you hit the perfect curve, bar a 1-drop, and then draw it afterwards, it feels perfect.
Yeah, and then Psycho Pomp just feels like the ultimate follow-up as well to Amit. It's
insane.
So busted.
This is so busted. What on earth? Surrendered his brain. Oh, this is so disgusting. Like, he can. The thing is that if Shaxy trades in here, it means that trading away the Blade Master means Psychopomp doesn't even play into MCT. If you see what I mean. And I think
it's kind of, it feels weird, but I think it's fine. All this gets traded off, and Surrender's like, thanks for doing the work for me. Hiya! And then just slams the Psychopomp.
This is what dreams are made of right here. Do you ever not play Psychopomp? Like, it's a Psychopomp with an Amit on the board that gets you either Blade Master or Tolvir, the two best minions in the deck to summon. The dream.
Surrender really considering how much he's going to mentally hurt Shaxy by this play. So, do I want to do this to someone?
He's just
to another human being?
Well, what do I tweet out after this game?
Get wrecked.
Must consider.
Surrender's too nice to tweet something like that, actually.
The end begins.
Righty then.
Quickly.
Divine Spirit, there's even Bwansamdi for the follow-up later on. It's all looking good.
That's right, actually. It's literally just card draw that Surrender's missing.
Float like a butterfly.
Because, you know, it's possible. If Shaman does the most disgusting stuff it can do, like Mogu mutate, former champ mutate, maybe Surrender falls behind on it. Maybe. And in that case, he'll need the card draw to get him the lethal damage he needs. I think that's all very unlikely to happen. But Surrender obviously has to be careful here with respect to mind control tech. Exactly. We saw in the other direction when Shaxy lost this exact matchup with losing to mind control tech. So I imagine Surrender is not going to be making the same kinds of mistakes. But then by that metric, does he just not play anything? That's probably fine. Could just go Divine Spirit on the Amit. Start going face even.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird one, isn't it?
But if he just pushes face with 7 a turn, I think he probably pulls pretty far into the lead. I don't know. I've been in this situation so many times as Priest, and I still just don't know what the correct line is.
Yeah,
it's so
honestly,
hard.
The deck,
it's so hard.
Whenever you don't just stomp someone in the face, like the deck is actually
Yeah.
because you feel like the second you just don't do the right play, you just lose because you've just not used resources correctly. Surrender going for the double trades.
Like you can clearly see, Surrender is actively trying to get rid of these minions here. He's made the perfect board. Now he's trying to destroy it so that he can play more of his better minions.
Double MC tech in Shaxy's hand is a big deal as well because it's not only like one good swing turn, it's potentially two in his follow-up.
Potentially 3 with Shuttle.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's really going to push Surrender in terms of how he approaches the board just in general. And as you said, the speed in which he can or cannot trade off minions to play other minions.
Yeah.
But I guess after Bwansamdi, he just splurges everything onto the board anyway. So you know what, steal some stuff. You're probably going to die the turn after if you don't kill him.
Usually what happens after Bwansamdi's played.
There is little time.
Now
It just looks so deeply uninterested by what's happening.
Well, that's one of the most,
how cute.
maybe one of the most annoying minions that Priest can go
Pretty
up against.
annoying.
Taunted up with that much health.
Yeah.
I think he plays the next one. He's like, this is going to be infinite. And then he can, like, I don't know, steal it in a fire or something. I don't know.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. How does this feel, Priest?
Dama. Well, what I'm looking at first of all is obviously trade away the Psycho Bomb, and then you just play the Bwan Samdi to fill up your hand. But with the draw of Cleric, I guess it gets a bit more interesting because you can start looking a lot of the next few turns. You've got, I mean, this is still just a 7/7 game can play, which is a big deal. This is one of the reasons why I was a little bit surprised to see Divine Spirit not being played on the Amit on the previous turns.
Yeah, because
he floated a lot of mana. Yeah, exactly, and it would have been a way to, like, you know, basically cast Divine Spirit on a whole bunch of minions. Because obviously get the health of Amit when played. Whereas, you know, it's still a possibility. We could just see from Surrender next turn, Divine Spirit, and then every single one of them.
There's no serve though, so that's going to be a little bit tough now, right? He gets through this, doesn't he?
It does get through, yeah.
That's a good turn for Shaxy.
It's a very good turn. And
there's still, you know, obviously Divine Spirit in Empire. There's what, 7/7 on the board. So there's still a chance at, like, you know, doing the sort of kill out of nowhere.
Right.
But this was a very good recover.
And I think it could have been locked out by Surrender. Because if he'd gone for Divine Spirit 1 or 2 turns ago, I'm sorry, I can't exactly remember, he would have had a Tolvir with 14 health after the Reborn effect happened.
True.
He would have had a Bwan Samdi with 14 health, an Amit with 14 health. It's like 21 health that he just threw away.
And you get punished by things that you don't really worry about anyway, right?
What do you get punished by? There's a Plague of Murlocs. You get punished by Plague of Murlocs.
And you know what? You get punished by Plague of Murlocs anyway.
Right.
You know, outside of doing the exact lethal turn with all of the buffs.
Yeah.
I feel like the payoff is way more consistent, right? I also feel like Plague of Murlocs would have 100% been played, even 2 turns ago.
That's also a good point.
Amit's been down, there's big minions been down, they're buffed, you know. I think Plague of Murlocs would have been snap played because not only were there good enough minions to plague for Shaxy, Shaxy's own minions would have been played, which isn't actually that bad.
We come down now, though, of course, on the Bwan Samdi itself. Pretty respectable board. Surrender has to get moving though if he wants to be able to fit this all in. He's now playing into the mind control text as well that he's been so perfectly playing around all game. Oh no, wait, he didn't play the Null Shy though. Oh, sorry, it looked like he was reaching for it though. Okay.
Stop making stuff up, Derek. Jeez.
I guess in this instance it was probably still correct to play around mind control tech. I think with a 7-13 in play, Surrender's in such a dominant position.
Yeah, and I think that this one turn, he can reevaluate what's happened, what Shaxy does, and then have all of his mana to go super wide if he wants to.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that turn, if he did, look, he spent all his mana. It's like, does he really want to just play one drop extra to play perfectly into MCT? Yeah. It's like, I think if you want to play into it, you either put 3 minions on the board or put 7 minions on the board. Like, that's the way you really want to do it most of the time.
So is little time.
Shaxy doesn't know what to do in it. It's tough. It's very tough.
I think I like this and just having
most taunts possible.
Just saying the taunts will soak it and just being brave, I'll say. But you know what I mean? Just saying like, look, the taunts are going to get me there. This evolves fantastic. Heal's pretty sick too, kind of.
Yeah.
It dies anyway. But still, I think like this is the play because you go, look, isolate the minion. It's exactly the same we see Hunter play style versus Priest, right? Isolate a minion with Freezing Trap, isolate a minion with taunts, and just let Surrender punch a 7-hit attack minion or more maybe into just taunt after taunt after taunt.
Is someone injured?
Because already there's this amount of damage on the board. Hero Power Life Drinker,
yeah,
Sugar Walk too. No.
So the backswing lethal comes really quickly if you're not careful. Powered Shield, we're getting closer and closer here to Surrender closing out the game. Does he just go for the Inner Fire now? He's still thinking about that Plague of Murlocs. What happens if he goes all in here and the Plague comes down?
Probably loses.
Probably. But is that a risk he has to take? Is he just losing more slowly if he doesn't go quickly?
There's an argument he could take it a little bit slower because he isn't getting through these taunts yet. Next turn, I think we'll see him go deep, right?
But first of all, he's playing into the mind control tech before.
Well, now he needs to play other
one
one-drops, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Should he not have just played the two dudes? I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, yeah. But then that activates hero power mind control tech.
That is true. At least he only gets a
This
steal.
is a straight up 1 in 4.
Shaxy, you know what to do, mate. Because it also puts mind control. I wouldn't even mind potentially double mind control tech this turn.
Mental dislocator.
Yeah.
Because you lock it into Shudderwock the turn after.
Yeah. Surrender next turn is getting a lot of draws to find lethal. Or I guess with the cleric already been played, he doesn't necessarily find lethal every time next turn, which means that the 170 maybe just doesn't even survive. And then as soon as Shudderwock comes down, a bunch of Titanic lackeys activate, which makes much more taunts.
Always little time.
This is really close. And this is where things go so wrong, it feels like, for the Priest, where you're spending the whole game playing around too much, it feels like.
Right.
You can't play around everything.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to go in.
It's kind of funny between the Water Bearer and Cleric there drawing a card. It's pretty good, actually. No Pyromancer in hand, which means the no ability to get through this 2-1 taunt, which is really annoying for Surrender.
The end begins. I see a dark.
Whoa!
Well, that's a big boy, isn't it?
That's a very big boy.
Okay, now you just go all in, right? Surely.
Do you just not play around the second?
I think you just dump it on the board. Look, the problem now is look at the amount of power on the board for Shaxy. He's going to start being able to trade these minions down. Just get a ton of 7 health minions in the way. Get the taunts in the way. Maybe buff the health first. And just go wide with, you know, I don't know, 10 health minions.
So we're talking beaming sidekick, Light Warden, Tolvir, stuff like that.
Just do it. Yeah, I like this. Just do it.
I think it's time.
All in. He's played one MCT. He has to do some weird trades to like play another MCT. Who cares if you steal 1 minion when you have 7 massive minions on the board?
In the light's name.
The Surrender's even smiling here. It's like, well, here we go. Late game.
And Shaxy's just got what it takes, right? He can trade away the 1-1. Hero power MCT. I mean, I'm sure there's a different optimal way to do it. Get rid of the... Okay, get rid of the 3-1 first. Trade away the cleric, I guess. Just to make room on board. If you got 2 minions that you're stealing. Yeah, I like it.
This is as close to an all-in from Surrender as you're going to get.
Shut it, sure.
Same thing, but
Still
more
has
powerful.
the MCT.
Where one falls, two
This is one of the best Shudderwocks I've seen.
This Shudderwock's nuts. Look at all this taunt.
Yeah, look at the taunt. Oh, Surrender cannot believe it. That is honestly, not in terms of particular value, but in terms of outcome of what you want from a game, that is one of the best Shudderwocks I've actually ever seen.
It did everything that Shaxy
and now, can Surrender even win? Because he's just dead next turn.
Can he draw a card? Is the first
He's dead. That's going to be it. Wow. What a way. So close, but so far. Surrender goes down to 5-4, and Shaxy goes up to 5-4 with his record. Woof, what a series.
That was one of the most, not even necessarily exciting, but just most densely interesting games and intricate matchups I think we've seen in Grandmasters at all so far, at least for Asia Pacific. Seeing the Priest versus Shaman matchup on both sides being played so differently. I would argue Shaxy making the more blatant blunder in the first time when he was against the Priest as the Shaman, just leaving up a minion for mind control tech. But then on the other side, for Surrender, where we could have seen there was another element added to it where there was also the Plague for Shaxy, which of course meant Surrender could have gone for an earlier Divine Spirit to make a much bigger board, which would have not fallen behind in terms of just value trades, but it could have just lost the game to Plague. Do you play around that? Are you supposed to just go all in? It's such a difficult matchup.
It's crazy. So yes, Shaxy taking a win over Surrender is pretty huge there as they now even up on score. So congratulations to Shaxy. I believe we are going to go to just a quick break before we set up the next match though. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.